Good morning. So our topic for today, or what we're going to discuss today, is about a tree crop production. So we know that a tree is a woody plant having a single self-supporting trunk containing woody tissues. So in most species, the trunk produces secondary limbs called branches. There are several species of trees in our forest that are having a great value to the country. And some of these trees provide lumber and byproducts which help generate income. So the materials we get from trees also lead to the development of a new industries, thus providing jobs for the unemployment. So now we're going to tackle first the common types of forest trees. But first, what is a tree? So when you say tree, a tree is defined as a woody plant that has one main trunk, usually attaining a height of at least 2 meters. Uh, this is get from Huxley and Houghton 1997. On the other hand, woody plants that do not reach this height when matured are known as bushes or shrubs. There are two known groups of trees, which is namely the first one is the softwood or evergreens. So when you say softwood or evergreens, um, pine trees is the best example or belong to this group. They have either needle-like or scale-like leaves which are present throughout the year. They are medium to large trees with a diameter of 120 to 140 centimeter and a height of 35 to 40 meters. The Benguet pine is a typical example of this type, and then the wood from this tree is used as house construction materials and as telegraph and telephone posts. Next is common types of forest trees, what we call hardwood or broad-leafed trees. So they shed their leaves during summer, and these trees attain a diameter of up to 200 centimeter with moderately large support trunks. So the best example of this type is Nara, Mulave, and Mahogany, which belong to this group. So they are used for high-grade construction. Now, what is a forest? So when you say forest, it is an ecosystem where living things interact with one another and with the non-living things present in the ecosystem. A forest is not just a tract of land with trees. It consists of different plant and animal species that are dependent on trees and other plants for their survival. So forests provide our country with lumber and other byproducts which are exported to other countries and generating income for the government. So the industrial and agricultural sectors depend on forests for electric power. Our forest area are categorized according to the kind of trees that grow in each forested area. So there are five kinds of forests in the Philippines. Namely, number one, we have the Philippine Dipterocarp or what we call Lawan type. Number two, the Molave type. Number three, we have the Mangrove type. Number four, we have the Pine type. And lastly, the Philippine mid-mountain and mossy type. So first, let's talk about Diptero type or Dipterocarp or Lawan type forest. So this type is found in the wet bottoms of valleys and in hilly or mountainous parts of country except in areas of high altitudes like the mountain province. So this forest type is heterogeneous in composition. There are many kinds of trees present in this forest. So this normally this forest type is the biggest source of our lumber supply. So trees found in this type of forest include the Lawan or the Philippine mahogany, apitong, tangile, yakal, and giho. So these trees produce lumber noted for their strength and durability as well as beauty in grain and workability. Next type of forest is what we call the Molave or Molavian type. So the Molave forest is frequently found in regions of distinct uh, dry limestone ridges. So the Molave forest is considered as the second type of forest timber in the Philippines. Trees in this forest type include the Molave, Nara. We have also the Ipil, Tindalo, Banuyo, and Akle. So the kinds of wood produced from these trees are highly valued for their beauty, grain texture, the color, the strength, and durability. They are used for many purposes, such as in high-grade flooring, furniture making, shipbuilding, and railroad ties. Next type of forest, we have the mangrove or what we call the bakawan type. So this forest type is found along sea coast and shores of islands with muddy streams. So three species of this forest are the pototan, bakawan, or mangrove. Uh, we also there is also, by the way, busain, pagatpat, tangal, among others. So mangrove species provide firewood. It also provide roofing, charcoal, mats, tool handles, and many other things. They are also prime source of nipa shingles and usually used as roofing for our famous bahay kubo. Next type of forest, we have the pine or saling type. So this type of forest is found in the mountainous and the high altitude regions of northern Luzon in the Cordilleras. Trees in pine forest provide materials used for several forms of house decor and are a potential source of turpentine. So they are also popular for their fiber, which is good for making strong paper used in cement bags. Last type of forest, we have the mid-mountain and the mossy type. So this type of forest is found in very rough and mountainous regions of the country. The soil in this region is shallow because of direct exposure to sunlight, heavy rains, and strong winds. So the trees are dwarfed or dwarfed because of continuous exposure to gusty winds. So these trunks and branches are covered with ferns and mosses, liverworts, and the orchids. So this type is more important as protection forest, um, preventing flash floods and soil erosion. And the principal species of trees in this forest are what we call the lokmai and the egem. Okay, so now let's mm, have first learn the meaning of forest conservation. So when you say forest conservation, this is the wise utilization of forest resources to get their best and maximum use while maintaining the condition of the forest. So we have here some specific reasons why we must conserve forest. So number one, to build up our economy. So the timber we cut every year from our forest helps sustain our economy. So wood products in the form of logs, lumber, veneer, and plywood are one of our country's major export items. So our wood industries have also provided livelihood to thousands of Filipinos. Number two, to protect our rivers and streams, so which are our sources of irrigation, drinking water, and electric power. So many people are not aware that streams and rivers get their supply of water from forests. Forests can supply water for irrigation and other purposes because they absorb and store great quantities of rainwater. So stored water in the ground is then released gradually throughout the year to creeks and streams that flow together to make up the water that flows in the rivers. Next is to prevent floods. So forests have the capacity to hold water by means of the thick leaves, accumulated humus, and the roots of the trees. So moreover, forests prevent the rapid runoff of water that can cause soil erosion and floods that destroy property and life. Next, to give clean and fresh air. So clean and fresh air has become a luxury in the cities. So forests release great amount of oxygen and absorb large quantities of carbon dioxide. So clean air is one of the reasons why recuperating persons are often advised to spend some time in forest and other areas with plenty of trees. Next, for recreational purposes. So, city residents often need a vacation from their work and other activities. So, the natural beauty and tranquility of forests, offer a special source of enjoyment. And then the government has established several national parks throughout the country. So, this national park are most protected by forests. Sometimes the forests themselves are the national parks. So, like for example, we have the Mount Makiling in Los Baños, which is good site for recreational activities like camping, picnic, and hiking. Next is to serve as habitat for our wildlife. So this is a natural habitats for wildlife animals, including birds, um, which in the forest, we need to conserve our forest to prevent wildlife extinction. So the following are suggested measure to conserve our forest. So these are um, suggested measures. Okay, the first one we have the reforestation. So reforestation means involve of or involvement or involves the different activities of planting a young trees in denuded areas. Next, we have the forest conservation awareness through mass media. So public should be uh, thoroughly educated and oriented in conserving the forest. So, information dissemination on the important and condition of our forest is where mass media comes in. Number three, proper harvesting of forest products. So mature trees that are fit for harvesting can be cut, provided that loggers have secured permission from authorized government agencies. Number four, we have forest protection. So the kaingin system or the slash and burn practice should be discouraged to conserve forest areas. We also have the wise use of cut down trees, which the government authorities must see to it that all cut trees are actually used and that the cutting trees only happens in areas approved by the government. Number six, we have the to control of pests and diseases. So insects and diseases that can cause harm to trees must be prevented and controlled. So, as a citizen of our country, we should join hands in conserving our forests. We should support the different environmental programs of the government by planting a tree at home, so in school and in the community. So, the planting, caring, and maintenance of trees should be the goal of everybody. So, trees suitable for planting along city streets, housing subdivisions, and school campuses must possess the following characteristic. We have number one, they should be tolerant of city dust. They should be able to withstand the rigors of initial planting. They should be hardy. They must be able to endure droughts. They should be tolerant of poor soil. They should be resistant to smoke, gas, fumes, and other pollutants. They should be able to provide abundant shade. They should have attractive foliage. They should be resistant to pests and diseases. They should have root systems that are not destructive to sidewalks. And of course, they should bear fruits and flowers that are free from objectionable odors. So we have here some of three species that can be planted. We have the pahutan or what we call mango. We also have duhat, pili, ipil-ipil, fire tree, kamagong, kakawate or madre de cacao, sugar palm or kaong, rambutan, and lastly, guava. So that's the end of our lesson. So disclaimer of this video. And also, thank you so much to the following: Tristan Laruan, Maurice Gravides, and of course, De La Salle Araneta University.